Hello, I am Sarita, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC, SDMIT, Ujire. Today's topic preemptive shortest job or shortest remaining time first. Preemptive shortest job first scheduling algorithm. The jobs are put into ready queue as they arrive. But as a process with short burst time arrives, the existing process is preempted or removed from execution and the shorter job is executed first. Let us discuss an example preemptive SJF or SRTF. Both are same. SRTF means shortest remaining time first scheduling algorithm. Each process having their own process ID P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5, and each process arrival time will be different and each process requesting the different burst time. Now we can draw the Gantt chart and find average waiting time and average turnaround time. At time 0, that means the CPU time 0, only one process arrived in a queue, that is P4. Whenever the scheduler selects that process for scheduling. At a timestamp T1, the process P3 arrives. Now, according to the definition, you need to select which process will be requesting the shortest time. Among these P3 and P4, the P4 is a shorter burst time, so it will be continue the execution. And P3 moves to waiting queue. Once the CPU time becomes 2, the process P1 arrives with burst time 6. Whenever comparing the burst time for P4 and P1 and one more process residing in a queue P3, so P4 will be requesting less amount of time because the 2 millisecond task will be completed till it will be required only 1 millisecond task. Hence, the P4 will continue the execution and P1 moves to the waiting queue. At timestamp 3, the process P4 will finish its execution because it required only 3 millisecond task in a CPU. The burst time of now in a third millisecond new process arrived in a queue. Now the scheduler will be select the waiting processes. So in this P3 and P1 is residing. So comparing the burst time P3 and P1. The process P1 is required 6 millisecond and P3 is required 8 millisecond. So P1 is executed because its burst time is lower. At a timestamp 4, the process P5 will be arrived. Now the P1 is completed 1 millisecond task, still it required 5 millisecond task. The burst time of P3 and P5 and P1 is compared. Process P5 is executed because its burst time is lowest and it will be prevent the execution for process P1. At the timestamp 5, the process P2 will arrive. Now in your P1, P3, P2 and one running process P5. So compare the burst time with P5, the process P2 is executed because its burst time is least and process P5 is preempted. If P2 will be finish its execution because it will require for 2 milliseconds, no other process will be arrived in a queue. The burst time of P1, P3 and P5 is compared. The process P5 is required 3 milliseconds, so that's why it will be selected for execution and P5 completes its execution, that means it required for 3 millisecond task. The burst time of P1 and P3 is compared. The process P1 required 5 millisecond task and process P3 required 8 millisecond task. So P1 is a lesser one, so that will be selected from the scheduler and continue its execution. If P1 finishes its execution, only P3 is on the waiting queue. Then it will be select and started execution. The finally only P3 in the queue, so selected by scheduler and finish its execution. Now we need to calculate average turnaround time and average turnaround time and average waiting time. Average turnaround time means the total turnaround time divided by the total number of process. Average waiting time means the total waiting time divided by the total number of process. Now in a waiting queue, no process will be remaining. All the process will be scheduled by the scheduler. So now we have to calculate the completion time before calculating the turnaround time. The completion time means when the process will be finished at the execution. So now you need to compare from the right hand side because it will be after that the same process will not yet arrive for a queue, no, not yet arrive for a scheduling. So in this case, if a P1 will be completes its execution at 15th millisecond and P2 completes its execution at 7th millisecond, and similarly P3, P4, P5 complete their execution 23, 3 and 10 millisecond. Now we need to calculate the total turnaround time, the completion time minus arrival time. So in this we get P1 13, P2 2, P3 22, P4 3 and P5 6. After that we need to calculate the waiting time. The waiting time means the total turnaround time minus burst time. We know the turnaround time. So P1 process 13 minus 6, it becomes 7. Then 2 minus 2, 0. Because process P2 arrived in a queue, immediately get the CPU, the time becomes 0. Next P3 22 minus 8, it becomes 14. And P4 arrived in a queue, immediately get the CPU, so waiting time becomes 0. And P5 6 minus 4, 2. After that, you need to calculate the average turnaround time. So that is the total turnaround time divided by total number of process. So we get 41.2 milliseconds. Average waiting time, the total waiting time divided by total number of process. So the total number of process will be 5 and waiting time of the process P1 to P5. Then we will get 4.6 milliseconds. Thank you.